Hello and welcome to Totally Tell Me, a weekly entertainment review podcast where we talk about movies, music, food, and fun. My name's Dominic Macrio and I am here with Laura Weinbach.
Hello.
What's up?
Nothing.
Great. And we have a guest for the first time in 2.5 years? Something like that?
It's been an aeon.
It's been a long
plus
time.
Counting.
But we have with us Dylan Gallagher.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Nice to see you here in person, live.
Just like the good old days.
It really is, yeah. Sorry, I'm just making some adjustments.
He made a common appearance on the old episodes of Totally Tell Me.
Yeah. Dylan is a good friend.
He was a beloved guest.
Yeah. Some might say fan favorite. How
I mean, those weren't my words.
I mean, how would you take that?
I mean, I'll take it.
You'll take
I love
it?
that. That's wonderful.
Okay.
That's wonderful
Yeah.
to hear.
I mean, I've never heard that, but I just feel like maybe someone would say that. You know?
Kelsey's giving claps. I see that there's the first round of recognition rolling in.
What's up, Kelsey? But yeah, we've had you on the show many a times. If you're a newer listener, you might not know Dylan, but Dylan's been on probably 5 or 6, maybe even more episodes of the show back in the day.
Yeah, because what was the first one we did? It Comes at Night.
That was
We
classic.
won't talk about that, and then
That was our first... The first time we ever really bonded on negativity.
Yeah, well, because you fell asleep in the theater, so I
also strongly just disliked that movie, and we both needed to be in each other's corner that time.
And of course, new law of it's Newton's fourth law.
Mm-hmm.
If we like a movie, Dominic is more than likely not going to like it.
I will say,
and vice versa.
Right, but didn't we all love, in a sense, Cats? In a sense,
yeah.
you know?
We all felt equal.
Yeah, I think we were on the same page on that one.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
But
so sometimes
none of us actually liked it.
I loved it in a way.
We all enjoyed the disdain with which we experienced the hit musical Cats, brought to the silver screen by none other than the likes of Dame Judi Dench herself and others.
God, can you
Jennifer
believe
Hudson.
How did she end up in that?
Multiple Oscar
Why would a dame
winners,
agree to do Cats of any
multiple
sort?
Oscar winners and then Jason Derulo.
Right, yeah.
Who is that even? I don't know.
Oh, you've definitely heard a Jason Derulo song.
What? Oh, he's a musician? Okay.
Yeah.
Or a singer? Or...
Well, now, of course, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but he had a bunch of... He had a bunch of songs during that kind of early aughts period. He had what was that one? Well, this is embarrassing.
I truly don't know. I mean, if you're embarrassed, then I'm in hiding because I would not even know if you said the names, probably. But then again, maybe that's a cool thing. Maybe that's cool that we don't know.
Maybe I can pull up some
not
songs
know.
later while you guys are
Absolutely. And let me
chatting.
also just mention that this is Totally Tell Me. We go live every 2 weeks, every 2 Sundays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we are currently live. We're seeing some people in the chat here. What's up, Justin? What's up, Tori? Hello, real life Tori, who I know. Have you ever heard of her?
I think we've met.
Yeah.
Tori Louise 5. It rings a bell.
Yeah. But what's up, Justin? First time listener, first time caller. If you are listening on podcast services later, you can always watch live again Sunday at 7 p.m. But we post it on podcast services a few days later if you would prefer to listen. But yeah, you're going to want to watch. You're going to want to be a part of it. We bring people in. We bring people, their opinions into the mix here. And on today's show, we're going to be reviewing the John Waters 1974 cult classic Pink Flamingos. So that will be in the second half of the episode. First, we're just going to sort of chit-chat about our lives and such and so forth. And then we will get to what we have all just watched together, actually, in the same room. Which is even more of a rarity, because even when Laura and I do the show together, we are not really watching in the same room.
We refuse to be in the same room.
Yeah. Honestly, me and
Laura... to the show.
Yeah, me and Laura, we've had a huge falling out, actually, behind the scenes, and we barely can hold it together for this show, so it's, it's truly a miracle that we're here together without...
It's truly not true.
Yeah, it's absolutely not true. We're great friends. And it's as we are with Dylan, of course.
Allegedly,
yeah. Let's see. Should we... Hello, Annykins. How's it going? Should we chit chat and stuff? Talk about our lives.
We could try.
Yeah.
You know. Dylan.
Okay, sorry, I have to start by saying it's really weird to be doing this with you guys and like not only sitting shoulder to shoulder, but then like seeing ourselves reflecting back at us. It just feels
let's
like,
talk about it.
It feels like we're in a Zoom meeting.
Yeah,
we are
with
in
ourselves.
a Zoom meeting, and yet we're sitting here.
It's me reacting to
Oh my god! I just realized we never did it like this before.
No.
We
were all actually sitting
it was
at
all
the table.
only audio.
It was very civilized.
Oh, it was civilized.
Yeah.
This is not civilized.
No,
we've degraded ourselves to an uncivilized, uncouth sort of way.
It's tacky, which actually really goes hand in hand with the movie that we watched tonight.
It is giving Zoom meeting. I hear what you're saying. You know, it's as if you put yourself as the featured speaker on Zoom. You know, like how you could put someone as a featured speaker.
But this is also making us all one self because we're all in one screen, sort of thing.
True.
Yeah.
So there's a unity there.
True.
Right. What was your favorite Zoom meeting of the pandemic? I'm just kidding.
Zoom meeting? I actually really do miss that period, like from early pandemic, where we were doing like game nights and stuff.
Oh.
Like where people were doing remote Jackbox and Among Us and like.
Although
there were even some like attempts to do like viewing parties where like people would do the thing where they'd be like, okay, I'm gonna press play on 3, 2,
right,
and then like we would try and sync up, but you could never get it exactly right.
Yeah, but wait, so you missed that?
I did that with my brother. We would sync up trying to watch stuff in the beginning.
I thought it was fun.
There was a funness to it. It was also fun to just like not get dressed in anything besides wear pajamas the whole time.
I know, because it's
sort of not worry about anything.
Yeah, you'd have a social night and you'd be like, I don't know, you'd have like your takeout or your wine or whatever you wanted, and then like at the end of it, you wouldn't have to do the whole awkward like rigmarole of like, well, it's getting kind of late, I guess I should call my Uber or whatever. You could just be like, oh, my battery's about to die, bye you guys, and then like hang up. Done. You're already home.
You're already
home. It's finished.
And for some of us, life hasn't really changed too much, you know?
Well, yeah, because you never cross the bridge and everybody always comes to your house.
Excuse me? I will, just so everybody knows, yes, this is my home. Yes, this is where we've been recording these episodes.
We're in your bedroom right now. When we leave, you can go to bed.
Yeah, I can.
That's true.
And I won't. And I won't. But there will be a time where we will be at Laura's studio, which is currently being built.
It is currently being built.
That will be really probably the hub of Totally Tell Me after
and then I'm going back to the pandemic. That's where I'm going to be.
I'm starting it.
I might call, you know what? I think I'm going to call my studio just called Pandemic.
Oh, God.
No, I'm kidding.
Do it.
It actually already has a name.
Oh, what's the name? Wait, are you willing to debut it live?
I mean, sure. Although maybe I shouldn't. Maybe it should be a bigger deal.
Oh, I don't know.
Studio that we're building.
Do you know about this?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, we're building a studio like in our backyard.
Okay.
I mean, it's actually like
almost... This makes a lot more sense though. Right?
Oh yeah. Context. We probably should have given context even for those who have no idea what's going on as well, which is literally everyone but me in this situation.
Yeah, Anton kind of made a point not to talk about it publicly, and I guess
oops.
I just followed suit. But I also don't care, so I don't think he cares that much either.
Well, should we not talk about it, or should we?
That's fine. We don't have. It's not that interesting right now, but it will be later.
Right.
But what else is there to talk about?
I have something to talk about.
Oh, okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
I have something too, but go on.
Okay.
I want you to go.
Okay, so this morning I did something that you absolutely hate.
I already know.
Say it.
Orange Theory.
I did Orange Theory. I recently rejoined Orange Theory, which I'm very excited about.
Oh, rejoined. So you were not in.
Oh, boy.
You were not
was in it.
among.
Dominic heard all about
At a point?
it.
I never stopped hearing about Orange Theory.
I was deeply invested in it. This is actually really embarrassing, but for a while I had the premium membership, which is like you can go to unlimited Orange Theory classes per month. Do you want to take a guess how much this membership costs, this particular tier?
Like per month?
$200.
Yeah, it was $200.
Oh.
$200 for a gym,
yeah.
Which I guess is not even as much as like people pay for Equinox, but still.
I was gonna say, how much does Equinox cost?
I don't even know. It's like a fortune. It's a crazy.
200 is a lot.
But if you pay more than that for Equinox, what do you get? Do you get a pool? Do you get a spa? Do you get massages unlimited?
I don't know because I've never been allowed past the threshold of an Equinox.
I
don't make enough money.
I want to go to a place that has like pool, massage, Free, unlimited.
I know that they have Kiehl's products in their showers.
Oh, that's nice.
Which is really nice. And I know that because I had an ex who would go there and just like refill his bottles in the locker room.
It's very gay there, right?
That's the other thing I was going to say.
Okay.
I think that you unfortunately wouldn't really benefit from this, but I hear that there are a lot
Maybe she would.
Hey.
I'm down to see some gay schlong.
Maybe
right,
it would
yeah.
be like Cotton just like peeking through
the window. Don't touch me. Just let me see it.
So what are you gonna say?
That's a reference to the movie
There's a
we
lot
watched.
of cruising, I'm told, in like those locker rooms, and there's like a fancy steam room.
Wait, when you say cruising, do you mean guys looking at other people's dongs,
Guys,
or
like,
just like touching and licking?
Sexual activity.
They're sucking, they're fucking.
Oh my god.
They're
cruising
they're
for
all
sex.
of it.
I don't.
They're all
Well,
of
cruising makes me think you're driving by and not touching, but you're saying
No,
like
no,
actual.
touching.
So
No,
then
well,
cruising
it
to me
starts
is that's a misinformed word in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, it starts as a drive-by situation, like drive-by with your eyes, kind of give an eye, and then
Drive
I think
by
if both
with
people
a
are
hand.
right, exactly.
You drive by and then you pull the car over
Yeah.
when somebody like opens their towel or whatever.
Yeah, you turn the
Oh, you
ignition
drive
off,
by
you get out
with
of
your
the car.
penis. Your penis is driving by. And the stops are like the guys'
Yeah,
other
absolutely.
guys' like towels.
Yes.
Open towel.
Right. No, I think it's
Or-
open towel, like
Yes.
penis already.
It's an
erect.
open towel system.
Yeah, it's
It's
like
an
someone's
open
in
towel
this...
policy.
Right.
Oh, somebody actually said y'all know about the shower curtain code.
Oh, tell us
I
about
don't.
tell us about the shower
So-
curtain code.
Oh, it's cooling prongs. Hi, cooling prongs. Hi, that's my friend.
This is some PG-13 activity.
Wait, you know who
Justin,
Cooling Prongs
this is
is,
an
right?
R-rated show. What?
You know who Cooling Prongs is,
I absolutely
right?
do.
Okay, just me.
What is the shower curtain?
Cooling Prongs, by the way, new... Oh, never mind, I won't say.
At gyms, yes, cooling prongs, inform us. But in the meantime, so wait,
Back
have you
at Orange
seen
Theory.
some cruising at? Oh wait, you didn't go.
No.
You didn't go.
No, there's no opportunity for cruising at Orange Theory.
That's
because they
fucked up.
There's no
Get out of
gym.
there
Or,
fast.
I mean, locker.
There are like single-use shower rooms
Wait.
where you like it is like a
It's
locked
just for
door.
one
It's
person.
not a
Oh.
curtain situation. But I actually, so I'm in the process of moving right now. I'm trying to declutter my house, so I'm trying to like donate what I can, give away what I can. And I came across something today that I don't think sparks joy for me personally anymore, but I thought would spark a lot of joy for you.
No, don't do this to me.
This
Dylan, I don't.
is
No, I have to burn it if you give this to
my
me.
Orange Theory
Oh my fucking god.
Dry Try
Oh fuck.
medallion.
By the
Oh,
way, he
championship?
has a...
What
He
does
has,
it say? Championship?
can I interject for 1
Oh,
second?
brother.
Competitor.
He has...
Competitor.
Okay, on his
If I
very
may be
prominent...
so bold. If
Oh,
I may be
God.
so bold.
Wait.
Oh my god, he's a competitor.
I just went to his house,
Incredible.
and in his house, one of the prominent things that you see when you walk in is a bookshelf, which is proudly displaying, as right it should, his college degree from
Yeah.
UC Berkeley, which I went to UC Santa Cruz. We both have that degree. It doesn't specify
Same
which
degree.
UC you went to. It's the same.
No.
I also majored in English, so
Slay.
right on.
And then right next to it is
right
second
next
biggest.
to it is
Dry try
his other
certificate.
certificate that said, I was like, what's DRITRIT? What
And I
is this
immediately
certificate for? I thought it was
ran
like
into the
some
room.
academic, high achieving, like academic thing that I didn't know about. And he's like, "Oh,
It's a
dry
dry
try.
try.
Let
It's a
me."
dry try.
He's like, "Let me get my medal that I won at Orange Theory, which is actually what
God.
that was from. This certificate that's proudly displayed next to his Bachelor of Arts certificate from UC Berkeley as a major in English. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
Thank you. It's like my beautiful family heirlooms, precious, like irreplaceable pictures of me as like a baby, college degree, dry try, completion
Now what?
certificate.
Oh, so
Now,
it's a completion certificate.
Yes.
So it just means you did it, but you didn't like win something better than other people did.
the people were not like there was no
Competing.
first, second, third. There was nothing.
It
like
means
that.
nothing then. It's
Yeah.
just fucking bullshit.
Because
So
it's a
I'm
healthy
sorry.
environment where everybody wins.
That's
Fitness,
not healthy.
The journey
Competition is healthy.
the destination at Orange
No,
Theory.
Wait,
I want to go.
Can I describe
I wanna go.
how Dylan is when he is part of the cult of Orange Theory?
Oh, tell me.
Because I don't
The
think
cult of
Dylan
Orange
is fully aware, or maybe you are to some degree. But essentially, when Dylan is a part of Orange Theory, all he talks about is Orange Theory. When you ask him like what's he doing on this weekend, he'll be sure to let you know that he has a class at 9:30 a.m. on Sunday.
9:30?
If you saw him, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out. You know?
It's 10:40.
Oh.
It's okay.
10:40. Sorry. If you see him afterwards,
Well,
he'll talk
there's a
about how he
difference.
went to Orange Theory. Like basically, his life is a string of Orange Theory appointments with just some filler in between. And he like has to let people know about this. And that's really the crux of this.
I get it though to a degree. I kind of get it.
It's very cult-like though. It's sort of like,
as is Weight Watchers, which I have undergone and have
but
probably espoused the doctrine to.
Is it cult-like, or is it something that provides structure,
strength,
and something that provides happiness?
I will say I'm glad it makes you happy.
Are you?
I am,
because you seem to hate when I talk about it.
Well, I do hate. I just have a thing with like people talking about gym shit all the time, as you know. Wait, it's not even just you.
Oh my god, this is so funny because he just talked about the gym the other day, and I was like, "Why are you at the gym?"
No, exactly. I need to defend.
But then I went to the gym, and then I was like, "I know how you feel."
Okay, no.
Which I hate for myself.
I know you're trying to get a word in edgewise, but I'm not going to allow it because I have had several instances where you've been like, "Oh, I went to the gym this morning," or like you just
no, I don't just say that. I don't just say that.
I've asked you like, "What were you up to this weekend?" and you like mentioned I went to the gym or something like that. And I want to know, why are you allowed to talk about going there and pumping your little legs on the elliptical, but the second that I want to talk about Orange Theory, it's a criminal activity.
Okay.
It's a closed curtain policy.
May I speak?
Yeah.
I think I'm on trial here, so I think I should have a say in this.
Oh, have a say.
So here's the deal. This is a wide gap between how I speak about the gym
you know something about wide gaps.
I do, and how you speak about the gym. Mm-hmm. Laura, you called me when I was at the gym, and actually I spoke with you for probably
obviously you love the gym because you were at one.
No. So I spoke with Laura for upwards of 5 minutes without mentioning where I was.
Yeah, nice.
And then Laura said, like, "Oh, could you make this change on something?" Like, we were talking about, like, making an adjustment on something. I was like, "Oh, I actually can't right now because I'm at the gym.
At the gym.
So I'll call you back when I'm..." But I couldn't... What else could I have said in that moment?
You could have said, "I am not at home right now. I do not want to say where I am because I despise the term."
You
said it lovingly and embraced it
if you had reversed the roles, flipped the script, and I had answered the phone and said, "Oh, I'm leaving Orange Theory right now," you would have been like,
"No, because you would have said that unprompted. You would have said that unprompted. You'd be like, "Hey, Dominic, guess where I'm at? Orange Theory."
But if it's true, who cares? Do you want me to just be like, "Oh, I'm just finishing an activity"?
I just feel like there's a vibe that I get from people who like go to the gym all the time. That
you say this while proudly wearing your gold medal.
Yeah, you don't seem to have a problem. Which, by the way, Weird Artifact says metal makes a nice sound. It does.
I hate it.
Why do you hate it?
I hate it. Yeah.
It loves you.
Well, no.
You know what?
Okay.
Look, it works for you.
You can scroll it.
Somebody said...
You can scroll over here if you want to.
I see.
Yeah.
So Grandpa Joe has entered the chat.
Wait, I want to hear what Cooling Prongs had to say about the curtain.
Oh, we did get an answer.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I forgot to follow up on that.
Cooling Prongs said, part your curtain a third, not a half, but a third open if you're inviting company.
Okay.
So that's the cruising tip, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And this is only at Equinoxes, or can we do this at Planet Fitness where there's bums?
No you need a curtain though.
With the ugly sleeves.
I know that's not nice, but there are actual bums that go there and just like hang out on the massage chair.
Justin brbrings up a good point though.
By the way, that's my gym.
Isn't it like $19.99 a month?
No, it's like $10 a month. Well, at least when we started going there, it was $10 a month, and then I quit, and then I rejoined, and now it's $20 a month.
Oh my god! Wow,
that's very affordable.
You can only leave your curtain a third of the way open there because they don't give you a full curtain
unless you want to
afford a full curtain.
Bum.
They give you like Venetian blind.
They give you a Venetian. No, a Venetian blind would be way more expensive than like a cheap, shitty vinyl shower curtain.
That would be nice. Like, actually, that's kind of hot. I will say.
A Venetian blind.
Yeah, like, and then you
it's
could
very
leave them...
sort of red light district-esque when you think about it.
But like, what if they were slightly open? You know, to sort of insinuate,
like, you just see like the slice of a penis.
Right. Like multiple slices. Or you multiple small slices of penis.
So
or ass.
The stripes of a penis.
Right.
I mean, I'm just imagining the person like being.
Oh wait. Oh, I'm thinking of. Wait, what are the blinds?
You're thinking of like. No, those are Venetian.
Venetians are the ones that hang.
Like these, right? These aren't Venetians.
No, Venetians are the ones that are horizontal.
Okay, sorry. I was thinking of vertical blinds.
Oh, you mean like what Dominic has?
That, like, clap back and forth.
What are those called? Oh, that is also an option.
Right. Yeah. No, sorry, not
that
Venetian
could do
blinds.
it. That could be a reveal of sorts.
Venetian blinds would be shocking.
No, did you say Venetian? Those are Venetian.
Venetian.
These are my Venetian blinds, but not to be confused with Venetian.
Justin brought up a good point that I wanted to bring into the fray here. What if you leave your curtain a third open by accident, though?
Then you are going to be butt rammed
very
soon.
You're gonna get fucked. Sorry, there's no middle ground here.
End of story. Next question, Justin.
You either shower or you get
fucked.
fucked.
You get fucked in your butt.
So leave that shit closed.
Well, unless you want to, which some people might.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And maybe you did it on accident, but there was a part of you that wanted to do it. So just come to terms with that.
Laura magnanimously reminding us that she loves gay people. If you want that, it's okay.
It's funny. I heard about, like, I always see equinoxes when I'm in Los Angeles, you know, and they're always in kind of like in affluent WeHo. Area. Yeah, they're in like WeHo. But I always think to myself, is that a nice gym? I have a feeling that it might be.
It's really nice.
Because I like researched gyms that have pools, and I believe they are one of them. And so I was like, oh, maybe Equinox is the place to go. And then I was listening to an episode of the amazing podcast that I just told you about today called The C Word, where they interviewed, I don't remember his name, but the awesome guy who's on Girls who plays Lena's ex-boyfriend.
Oh, Andrew Reynolds.
Andrew Reynolds, yes. He is an amazing actor. I think he's really funny. But he talks about Equinox on the episode, and I was like, oh, he goes to Equinox. It must be like for rich people. But now you're confirming that it's for rich gay people.
Yeah, rich gay people, yeah.
I have a friend who signed up for it recently because they get a student discount. They were telling me that they go there and they're like, yeah, it seemed like everybody is just like really, first of all, gay, and then really, really ripped, and they all have huge dicks. So there's something in the water at Equinox.
Oh, wow.
Maybe that's what gets you a discount, you know? Maybe a big dick discount, perhaps.
Big dick disc.
Yeah. I know that Fitness SF is also quite gay and quite cruisy because it's in the Castro.
I've heard that.
That's a notorious cruising gym. My gym is very straight. And...
Don't talk about your gym.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Have you ever observed like any cruising activity
at your gym?
At your G word?
At your gym?
Well, in a sense, yeah.
Because you instigated it.
No, I didn't instigate it. I will say I did have an incident where once.
Oh my god!
One time.
Hello.
Nothing happened
just
though.
Pull the curtain on.
Nothing happened sexually.
That was the problem.
Did your penises brush?
No. But okay. Basically, this guy was in the sauna.
Sorry, Josh.
Josh already knows.
Josh, close your ears.
Josh knows this. Okay. It's fine. He's in the chat. Hi, Josh. Basically, this guy was in the sauna, and like he was That's like laid down in a way in which.
Oh my God! Laid down in a way.
He was laid down in a way.
That's all you can say, but keep going.
I was like on the opposite end of the sauna.
Wait, so his penis was out?
No, his penis wasn't out yet, but then
let's get to that part.
He like removed the towel, and like very much his penis was out. And
wait, hold on. I'm just trying to paint a picture here. He's lying down, towel is sort of on top of the penis.
Well, just like a small little towel.
He's on his back.
Yes, he's on his back. Yeah.
So then he sort of swoops the towel off while laying down,
and just
he sort of just.
He very much unwrapped.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
It was very much that. Yeah.
Or was he kind of just like this? And he takes the towel and he goes.
No, actually, okay, that was more it. Yeah, it was.
I'm imagining he's kind of.
You really embodied that.
I know. I wanted to do some acting. So.
You have a gay man inside of you.
Like I'm imagining this, just the towels on him, and
you're
then
ready to cruise.
Oh, you're there. I didn't
Time
see
to sign up for Equinox. They're ready for you.
Well, sign me up for whatever that guy's name, Lee Strasberg's acting school in Los Angeles, because I think I'm ready for my close up.
Right.
No, but so tell me more. He took off his towel.
He removed his towel.
Did he directly look at you as soon as he did that?
No, he didn't. I don't think he looked at me, but he knew that I was there, and he started getting hard.
Oh my God! Whoa! Hold on. He took the towel off, and the penis just started going.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that's a bit rapish.
Well,
no offense.
I mean, I guess
to anyone. I don't know what that means. I guess it's it's like, no offense, if you've gotten a boner, you're not a rapist. Like, it feels a bit like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's crossing a line to a degree.
It's very forward.
It's very forward.
It's assertive.
Yeah. It's assertive.
It feels invasive. It feels invasive.
Honestly, I hate to say it and I don't want to stereotype, but you do see in those like very sexualized gay spaces, you see a lot of assertive behavior that I don't think would fly in like most civilized environments.
It's not, I guess, would you go so far as to say it's violatory?
Well, the thing is I think there's a time and a place, you know, like, I think there's, when you go to a cruisy gym, for example, like Equinox, or, I mean, if I'm to presume this is a cruisy gym at Equinox, you're sort of, like, stepping into a situation that you should maybe anticipate that's going to happen. And then, you know, there's even steps further where if you're going to, like, a sex club, like, you better expect to, like, be... Like, I think there's these different levels of, like, you have to walk into the environment
There's consent walking into
everything. Right. But I will say, at my gym...
But not at your gym.
I know, my gym, I would say that was not... That's, like, not the norm at all.
Right.
In fact, I've never seen that once.
But it's, like, just you and the guy in this, like, steam bath.
Right.
And there's guys he's, like, bonering the air while you're in there.
Definitely bonering
like, that's
air,
a bit... Yeah.
I mean,
how did it feel?
That wasn't even on purpose. What if he was just nervous?
I know. What if he was just wet dreaming? Like, what if he was asleep? What if he was asleep and he had a wet dream?
What if it was a stress boner because he was having a stroke, and then you left him there for dead?
Oh my God, that's a point to make.
I did leave him.
Think about.
I did leave him and his hard disk for dead.
Wait, so the stress boners, that's a thing?
I would say the exact opposite would be more the case.
Yeah.
I was wondering that. It's like, that doesn't sound like a real thing.
No,
it doesn't check out.
From the hippocampus. They're not something that I've experienced.
I would say that if you're very stressed, it would probably...
Except for when I broke my knee, and I got a huge raging boner.
You did not.
No.
You never even broke your knee.
No, I didn't.
I didn't think
it's
so.
It's called acting.
Lee Strasberg, call him up.
Wait.
Wow.
Justin just said there was a Republican senator who was cruising in an
airport. Did you just say Jessica?
I said Justin.
Okay.
I said Justin said there was a Republican senator who was cruising in an airport bathroom. He used the shoe tapping technique through the stall.
Wow. What is that?
Well, one can only presume that you would tap the shoe of the person next to you.
I remember this story. This was like, apparently he was... So what happened was he like put his foot like too far under the stall towards like the other person who was using that stall. Mm-hmm. And I guess it was like, that is like a code that people have used before. Like he pushed his foot like basically into the stall and kind of like almost was like tapping this other guy's foot.
Whoa, that is just so intense.
Yeah. But then
I thought when they said foot tapping that it meant like you're tapping your foot on the ground a certain amount of times to say, I want to fuck.
Like Morse code.
Something
you
for
start
that.
You start like Morse coding
like,
out.
It's not like you have to touch the
to fuck.
Yeah, N-I-W-A-N-T.
Need cock.
N-O-W.
I didn't know. I didn't realize it was like putting the foot on the other person's foot.
Right. And let me just say too,
that feels violatory.
Right.
To a degree.
And I'm
again with the very forward behavior.
Yeah, it's like you're touching someone. That's not, you're getting in their space.
But I do think that's better than like flopping your dick out and shoving it under the stall,
you don't have to flop your dick out, but I mean, come on. Like,
there are shades of gray.
There's shades of gray.
It doesn't have to be flopping out.
It doesn't have
Wait, but do you really think like tapping someone's shoe is like that's a violation?
Well, the energy with which that's happening, if the other person's not down, could definitely feel like, what the hell's going on?
It would feel creepy for sure.
It would feel really creepy.
Yeah, I guess
I wouldn't like that. If a guy did that to me in that kind of way, like if I was like
that's true.
In the bathroom on the toilet and then somebody put their foot under and like very sexually put their foot on my foot, I'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? And I would get freaked out.
I guess I have to presume though that he probably did this in a space where it was already assumed that like gay cruising happens. So
at an airport, is that assumed?
Why?
The airport?
Maybe that particular airport's bathroom is like known for gay. I don't really know, but I just feel like would you really do that in a situation where you truly have no idea? Like you're just in public. And,
this Republican might have had no idea because he's a Republican. So I mean, I'm just saying, no offense.
No offense. No offense to Republicans. But he's a piece of shit loser.
I did not say that.
I will say, though, on the Republican senator end of things, not surprising. And especially if he voted up for an anti-gay law.
Oh, my God.
You can all but bet that anyone who votes for an anti-gay law is very likely a closeted gay.
It's funny because I usually find those types of arguments so corny. Like, oh, that person must be homophobic because they're actually gay.
But then it pans out.
But it does seem like that happens a lot with lawmakers.
It really does. Because we've seen it. Like, it really has happened time and time again. That, like, the most staunchly anti-gay lawmakers are... They just, like... And then it comes out that they had a Grindr profile and, like, their nudes leak or whatever, you know?
There was a somewhat prominent... I think congressman from Texas, whatever, doesn't matter, don't quote me, back at like the time that like, do you remember like when Prop 8 was like a big thing in California?
That was like 2013 or 11, no, 12.
Basically when like it was still like a national question of like, do gay people deserve rights? Right. There was like a prominent congressman named Aaron Schock who was like vocally anti-gay and apparently like threw his weight and his money behind like all of these people who had like endorsed like horrific like forms of oppression and like anti-gay measurements against like queer people. And of course it turns out that he's gay. And now all these years later, he's like popping up on like Grindr and like Sniffies and like all these other gay...
What's Sniffies? Talk about that.
We'll get into that next.
What does that even mean? You sniff butts to find out if someone's your type? Or...
Yeah,
Is it a sniffing of butts?
We'll
is there a sniffing of butts?
No.
I mean, well, surely someone is in the midst of Sniffies.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that.
We will? Okay.
Basically, he's like the gayest gay that a gay person could be now. Like, he lives in, like, West Hollywood. He's, like, constantly going to circuit parties.
Oh, so he's like,
with
fully
all
out
these
now.
muscle gays. Yeah, totally.
So is he still anti-gay? Like, is he one of those gays?
He's kind of, like, cagey about it. Like, he doesn't want to fully disown his political past.
Wow.
I don't
See,
know
that's
why.
even more insane to
I
me.
know, it's
yeah, like
crazy.
when an out gay person is like anti-gay, or like anti-trans or something, or like it's like all
self-hate.
Yeah, it really is.
He doesn't want to disown his like previous political affiliations,
right.
But at the same time, he wants to use his current identity to absolve him from any sort of like criticism.
He wants it
that
both
he gets
ways.
from the he's like, why do queer people dislike me? Why don't they want to include me in their spaces? Like, I'm one of you. I'm not perfect, but also like I stand behind a lot of what I said before.
Right.
So Sniffies.
Okay, we can loop back to Sniffies. Yeah.
Have you used it?
I've been on it. Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh my god!
You're on it right now. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Close
what?
it. It. Well, I guess you could speak to it better than I can then, because I've never used it.
It's a lot. It's a lot like Grindr. It's a lot like Grindr.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a very cruisy app in which you
this
can...
term cruise, it just doesn't quite read to me. I don't feel that it's quite accurate.
You want pull over...
I feel that cruise is a bit of a misnomer. You know what I mean? No offense.
But it's just
What's
really...
wrong with
It just feels that it's inaccurate. It's like cruising implies just gliding past. But there's a lot of stopping and,
I think that's
engaging here.
Because you are gliding...
of it, though. These are very fleeting, ephemeral sexual encounters.
And you're also sort of observing many people and deciding who you might want to fuck. Yeah. So it is sort of like you are cruising by many people before you stop the car, pull over, and have yourself a suck and fuck.
Yeah. And from what I'm told, in a lot of these spaces, it will literally be like, there'll be like a little trial.
Oh my
They'll like
God.
pop it out, let somebody like,
Wait, what? Say that last
They'll
bit?
pop it out. They'll let people like,
just
test
like,
the waters a little bit, and then they'll be like, all right, that's enough.
They'll be like,
and
this
then
is
move on
what
to the next
you're going to get with me.
Yeah.
Then you judge that, and then you either swipe right, like literally on their penis, and swipe it.
Right.
It's like giving...
So even if you get rid of them, they're getting a little bit of a swipe, little tickle fest right
there.
So it's kind of a win-win.
A little trial.
Right.
Yeah, it's like going to Costco. You get a sample.
Wow. Yeah. So Sniffies is a lot like Grindr. How is it different?
I mean, it's very similar, I feel. Oh, I guess it's... The main difference with Sniffies is that you can literally see where people are on a map. So, like, with Grindr, it just tells you how far someone is from you. But this is, like, a new level of
I want to be fucked
now. Of like identifying yourself as like, I'm here, my hole is open, baby.
My door is unlocked.
Yeah. And
I'm
on Sniffy's,
face down, ass up.
Right.
Ready.
And in the steam room, the towel is off.
Yeah. Actually,
the is up.
I don't know if Grindr is still like this. I honestly don't know, but like, do you know if on Grindr, can you like basically show like dick as your profile picture?
You can't have it like in the pictures that are public facing, but you can have a locked gallery that you can provide people access to.
Right. Like, so on Grindr, you at least have to lead with like, oh, your torso, or like, like a suggestive pose.
Non-penile
photo. But you cannot show like full on nudity on Grindr. But on
you
Sniffy's,
can on Sniffy.
On Sniffies, you're seeing people like gaping open their holes. Like
you can see the entirety of Pink Flamingos.
Right, exactly. Pink Flamingos
Why is it called Sniffies?
is more
There's something to
Sniffies
that.
than Grindr.
I think it's also a little bit more like kink forward, if I'm led to understand correctly from my inside sources. Like,
that sounds like it. It makes sense.
Yeah, like people just let it all hang out on Sniffies. They're like, I'm here. This is my location. This is how you'll find me within the next 30 minutes.
Is there like a category that says your fetishes or something like that?
I honestly don't remember.
Do they have that on Grindr?
Yeah, I think
fetishes,
so.
like fetishes.
They at least have like filters on Grindr.
I think so.
Is there a checkbox that says chickens?
There are tags.
There's our little segue. No offense.
I hope not.
Who am I saying no offense to? Anybody who's watched the movie. Pink Flamingos, that is.
I think last thing I'll say about Sniffies is I think Sniffies is basically like what Grindr used to be, because I think Grindr, this is again my interpretation, because I've not been on Grindr in many a year, but like I met my boyfriend on Grindr. Like it's not, exactly, like it's kind of more like a dating. It's obviously very gay, and like there's a lot of hookups that happen through Grindr, but I also think it's like I was using it because no one was meeting up on Tinder. Like I just feel like Tinder became,
and they were using it for the same thing anyway.
Wait, why was no one meeting up on Tinder?
I just feel like the vibe on Tinder is like, let's just chit chat on the app forever.
Endless, like swiping.
Yeah, like
endless
people just want to know that they have a connection with like a connection in the app. I mean, not a real connection, but like they want to just like know, oh my God, like look at that person. He said yes to me. But like, I'm trying to meet up, like I want to date in real life. Like when I was dating. And I just found that Tinder was not it. And so Grindr, at least people actually meet up on Grindr. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just don't understand why they wouldn't do that on Tinder too, though. That's like, I just don't see why one app would enable that more than the other.
Because I think that this is just like me spitballing, who can say for sure, but I think that it's because it's like, it's presented as a dating app. So like, you can't do anything X-rated on Tinder. You can't talk about like... there's no locked galleries. There's no, like, it's not socially acceptable to go on there and basically be like, I want to get fucked today, and here's how I want it. It's like...
But Grindr
it's presenting as a dating app. Yeah.
And so Grindr would lend to people actually seeing each other in person.
Exactly. And
sense.
I also think that, Grindr is, like, kind of more of a hookup app, but it's sort of like, you get back what you're putting out there regardless of how you meet the other person.
Exactly.
So like with Tinder, I went on so many, like Tinder, Hinge, OkCupid back when that was a thing.
I tried that once.
All those different platforms.
That was like the one, there was like 2 apps that were out when I was in the game.
Yeah.
Which was the very beginning of online dating. Like it was very much a faux pas at that time.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, it was like...
Totally. People still like made fun of it.
People were like really awkward about it, and I remember I was even like, I felt like, not sure about it. But it was OkCupid, and I believe it was, what the hell was the other one? Not JDate, but
there was
some adult one,
There was Match.com.
Match.com,
right?
that was the one I remember, yeah.
Christian Mingle.
I didn't see that. I didn't go on that, but I went on
Well, no, I'm just making a joke, because that's like for hardcore Christians to find other hardcore Christians.
Sure. Oh, like that's the opposite of J. That's the counterpart to JDate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I just remember thinking that it did not seem like it was going to lead to my true love.
Plenty of Fish was another one.
Plenty of Fish. Oh my God.
Oh.
I don't really know anything about Plenty of Fish. I just know the name. Do you know anything about Plenty of Fish?
No.
I think it was one of those kind of flop ones that like they kept trying to get it to take off. They actually had like product placement in like a bunch of music videos at the time.
Really?
Lady Gaga's video for Telephone had like a prominent like close-up of somebody on Plenty of Fish.
Oh.
It was so random.
Wow.
But it just like never got on.
I've never even heard of that.
It's sort of like how everyone was trying to make Bing happen.
Oh, Bing. Yeah, it's like that's still one of those things that happens when you go on Yahoo, but you're like, why would I ever use this search engine? It's absolutely...
I will go out of my way to remove Bing. The only time I've ever used Bing was to be like, how do I change to Google Chrome as my default?
I was just talking about this on another thing that was really funny. I just thought that was hilarious. Bing. Like,
Bing makes me sad.
And Yahoo search, too.
Well, Yahoo's also kind of unfortunate.
Really
They're all... It should be Google. Come on, you guys.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, who uses anything besides Google? But
well, people accidentally do.
Look I'm sure if I was the owner of Yahoo, I'd probably be pretty stoked. I mean,
yeah.
But Bing, I don't know if I would be stoked. I might be pretty fucking depressed. No offense, Bing.
Cooling Prongs mentioned that Plenty of Fish was referenced in a Britney Spears music video. And if I remember correctly, was that Hold It Against Me or was it I Wanna Go? If you know.
It's a little bit of delay, so you'll have to...
Sound off.
Sound off.
In the comments. But regardless, yeah, it was one of those ones that just like, I never used it.
Right. But to go back to your point about what you put out, that's very much the case. Because like, at the time that I met Josh, my boyfriend, I was definitely putting out at that time, I'm just trying to date. Because there was other times where I was definitely putting out, I'm trying to fuck. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like, it's really what you put out is what you're going to get from that app. You know? Or just really any dating app, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
You know? 100%.
And so wait, when Josh swiped left for you, is it a swipe left?
No, it's more like a click and message.
It's a click and bait.
Yeah.
Did Josh say like, I'm also just trying to date, or was he like, I want to fuck, but then I'll consider dating?
Well, I just get. I mean, like, here's how.
Was there a different language involved?
Right.
Josh still says to this day, I'm just trying to fuck. I don't know why you won't just let me.
Right. Every time Josh comes to my door, he knocks and he says,
he's like, I'm just trying to fuck.
Almost 6 years later, he's like, oh my god.
He's like, I'm just trying to fuck.
I'm dying for it.
I'm just trying to fuck. Damn it.
I think the vibe that I mean, like, the significant difference is, like, what sort of pictures you have as your profile picture, and also, like, what is in your
Wait, so would this say, I'm just trying to fuck? And would this say, I'm just trying to date?
They both say Christian Mingle to me.
Yeah. They both
no,
say...
this is my I'm just trying to fuck look.
Yeah, that's gonna be a hit. That's gonna be a hit on Grindr.
What would you do if you were just trying to fuck? Like, what would your look be? Can you guys do a look for I'm just trying to fuck? Let's just give that to the camera for a minute. What is your look?
Ooh.
That
would be my I'm just trying to fuck look.
Is that really a look?
But it would be shirt off. It'd be shirt off.
Is that really a look that you see on Grindr?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Don't you think?
One that you definitely see a lot on Grindr, more so with bears.
Oh my god!
Like they'll be like hilarious. Down here looking up at the camera. They'll be like,
oh my god, this is actually very true. That's very true. Very true. That's a classic gay look. Like,
what else is I'm just trying to fuck look? Dylan, you're on.
Oh man,
you can do this. I know you're an actor. Let's do it.
It's like a kind of forced anger. It's like...
Very good.
Wow.
Zoom in.
Wow, Dylan. Wow. You are such an actor. Wow. I love this for you. Let's get him to Lee Strasberg. Oh my god.
Yes, sometimes they're going for that like butch kind of like, you know, like I'm a fucking dude, bro.
Oh my god, that's a classic. That's very good. I feel that. I'm seeing that. I get it.
Josh is asking
the signs are coming through loud and
clear.
clear.
Says, what about twink looks? Well, this is where we need to ask Josh to come in.
Yeah, Josh, you want to demonstrate? You're in the other room. Do you want to demonstrate a twink look?
Dominic, you used to be the king of twink looks.
No, I myself was not a twink.
Yes, you were.
I've only ever been an otter.
That's the only reason I was friends with you. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I've only ever been an otter. Because I'm simply too hairy to be a twink.
Dominic, that's not always been
true.
Dylan,
I would say, is
Look
more...
at your pictures of us from like a while ago. You were a clean-shaven little...
I had a twink era.
Grown-up little twink. Yes.
Right.
You were a twink.
You were a very good-looking twink. Oh my god, do you know what video? You know what video I just came across of us that I was like, God, we look good in that video.
God, he looks like
was
a twink.
In No Fate, and you were dressed so well, and you were totally just clean-shaven, and I thought that was a good look.
Clean shaven? I haven't
been
clean shaven in a long ass time.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I mean, I always
look like a little boy.
I haven't seen you clean shaven in ages, including when you did drag. You didn't make yourself.
I just did. Yeah, I'd like.
Shock.
You just like rubbed foundation on your beard.
I really did
so much makeup.
Yeah, like
it was crazy because he literally looked like a wedding cake. He had so much powder and cream and like
you were
foundation and glitter and then like concealer. It was every blush, everything, and then highlighter. It was like a stunning amount of makeup, and I was like, whoa. And then
I could have gone with a subtler
I did
brush.
a little bit more of a subtle look for my.
Would you ever?
And
yeah. No, yours was very subtle.
I put on mine, and he was just like, "Oh, what? Maybe I need some of that." And I was like, "You don't need anything."
Well, I was trying to make a,
He was making a statement piece.
Well, I did want to look like a mess.
Kabuki.
You wanted to look like a mess.
I did want to look like a mess. For sure. Like, I wanted to be like a messy bride to be. But yeah, like was it super intentional that I looked like that? Maybe not, but I was rolling with it.
You fucking nailed it. Let me tell you.
Would you ever shave? Would you ever clean shave your face again?
I have. I did it during the pandemic just because I was losing my mind and I needed a shift. So I did go clean shaven just randomly one day.
Would you ever do it now that it's not the pandemic?
I think somewhat recently I did, but I don't remember why I did.
Will you do it again?
I was heavily considering it for my birthday, I will say.
Oh.
And then Josh went clean.
Because of the situation.
Because of the situation, which was a drag. It was a drag party, which I should mention. Mm-hmm. So all the men who were coming in drag, and the women were just coming as
drags.
They're coming as a drag, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So I just kind of did a close shave, but yeah, I don't know. I would definitely shave for the right party, I suppose. Maybe next time I do drag, I'll actually shave.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, speaking of drag,
I'll help with your makeup.
Next that'd probably be good
next time.
I think maybe we should. Speaking of drag, perhaps we move to Pink Flamingos.
Yeah.
And we can still be like chit chatting about other things, But so let me just pull up a little something here.
Oh wait, we didn't get a twink look.
Josh.
Can we just get one?
I think Dylan, he's already doing it,
Oh my god.
Here he is.
Dylan, I feel like could in a way be a twink.
All right.
Well, he is.
But you don't want to be one?
I don't know. I'm neither here nor there.
Okay, I feel that.
He does. He kind of does, though, I think.
I do and I don't.
One doesn't want to be pigeonholed into a label, I suppose.
Right. So, Pink Flamingos is a 1972 film from John Waters, who
By the way, I mean it as a compliment. I'm just saying. Twinks, I find them attractive.
Oh.
Are you trying to that's a look. That's a look that I think is a good look for people.
Right.
Carry on.
Right.
Speaking of looks that are not good for people, John Waters' mustache.
Yeah, but it's kind of iconic.
That's his Salvador Dali, I think. No, I don't know why he does it. I mean, he does look like Salvador Dali, though.
It looks like lip liner, but just on the top lip.
Well, yes.
So Pink Flamingos is written, directed, produced, I believe, shot, and basically everything by John Waters. John Waters, if you don't know, he's a notorious sort of like punk filmmaker, specifically known for his films in the 70s. Multiple Maniacs. Pink Flamingos is probably one of his most well-known films as well. Female Trouble is a well-known one. And then he also did the comedy Hairspray in the late 80s, which I will say at that point, like, his style shifted to be a bit more, higher budget,
Oh, for sure, higher budget.
Whereas Pink Flamingos, what we just watched, is definitely in his like early era where he was like almost
high budget.
It's almost no budget, and he's just kind of like filming it with his friends, and it's got like a very I mean, we'll get to it, but it has a very like punk feel to his whole aesthetic. So Pink Flamingos, it stars Divine, who is actually in many of John Waters' films. Divine is a renowned drag queen. She appears in this film as the lead character and playing herself, Divine. And the film follows. I mean, how I guess basically it's about Divine trying to hold the title of the filthiest person alive, and she starts to have some competitors on the scene who are competing for the filthiest people alive. So again, Pink Flamingos, we're going to not talk spoilers in the first part, meaning we're not going to talk... I would say for this movie, there's not a lot of plot spoilers, but I will say there are events that happened that we will not discuss until we kind of make it clear that we're going to get into that. So to start, we'll just kind of talk on a more broad level and hint at some things that we'll get into far more specifically in a little bit. So before we get into spoilers, what did we think of John Waters' Pink Flamingos? Laura, do we want to start with you?
Sure. This is not the first time I've seen this movie. I saw it when I was 18. I rented 3 movies that day, and I was in a phase of really being into just watching movies every single day at all hours of the day, and that was all I did. I had no friends. That day I rented Pink Flamingos, Salo, and Gigi Allen Live and Uncut, I think is what it was called. And I remember the video store guy looked at the 3 videos I was getting. He goes, "Oh, I see you've got a theme going here," and I did not know what he meant by that. And I later found out what he meant by it. I don't want to do any spoilers, but they all 3 have something in them that are like of a shocking nature. And I had no idea. That was all just a coincidence. But I didn't remember so much of the things that happened in the movie this time around. Like having watched it again this many years later, there were a lot of occurrences in it that happened that I didn't recall. There were only certain things in the first viewing that I remembered that stood out, and then almost all the other details kind of fell away. But I will say this. I went into it thinking, like, I wonder if this is going to hold up as being that shocking anymore. Like, now that we're in 2024, I thought maybe it's just going to be boring now. You know what I mean? And maybe, like, Dominic and Dylan are going to think, like, it's lame or something like that. Because at the time I watched it, I remember thinking it was, like, shocking. But I will say it still holds up. I feel that it does still hold up to its shock value. And, like, I think it's a relic of intrigue, in my opinion. You know, I love the way it's shot. I think that, like, there is a quality and an aesthetic to it that is just very much of its own, you know, that it really encapsulates that energy very well. I think it achieves what it's going for fully. And there's a lot of iconicism in this movie. So I think there's a certain element to it that kind of is interesting and is worth noting. But it's not for everyone. You know, what can I say? Certainly not for everyone. And there are things in it that I think are a bit definitely, like, questionable in terms of, like, the moral compassing of it. You know what I mean? I completely forgot certain things that happen in this that I do feel are a bit, like, points of controversy.
Right.
You know, like, I didn't think before that it was controversial. I just thought it was, like, outrageous, you know? But now I do think it's a little controversial. That's pretty much it, though. I think it's also really interesting, and I do find it entertaining, to say the least.
Dylan?
I'm going to say that I definitely think that you put it really well, and you described it in a way that I feel is very accurate and very diplomatic. I agree with most of what you said. The truth is that kind of the best way that I can think of to summarize this movie is that I just found it really hard to watch, which I think is the point of it. I mean, it's supposed to be like an affront to good taste. It's supposed to be shocking, which, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Even like 50 years on, holy shit, this movie is shocking.
Yeah.
We'll get into, like, the details later, but right. There were parts of this that I was like, oh my god, like, I have to look at my phone for a second, because I literally had to stop and use my inhaler at one point, because I was just like, I can't relax. Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't enjoy watching it. Mm-hmm. I'll say that. But it was it was unique. You can't take that away from it. It was definitely unique.
Are you glad you watched it, or are you not glad? Would you wish that you had never seen this?
I guess neither. Like, I don't... Now that I've seen it, I don't wish that I'd never seen it. Mm-hmm. But I also, like... If I could go back and tell myself before what some of the things that happened in the movie were, I don't think I would have watched it. I think I would have been fine with that.
Did you know anything that was going to happen?
I knew the last scene. Because obviously that's like...
I wish I didn't actually, but that is the one thing that I knew. And we won't get into it. We'll talk about it in a little bit. Yeah. But there's a famous moment from this film, and that was spoiled for me.
Which odds are, if you know anything about this movie, it's probably that.
Right.
Anyway.
But honestly, that's not it.
Wait,
there's more going on.
What was it about that scene that you were saying?
Oh, well, I was wondering what he knew about the film prior to going into it, and he said that he knew the last scene.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the last scene.
Yeah.
That was real.
Yeah,
we'll get to it.
We'll get
I mean, a lot of
I think a lot of it's real.
The movie, with the exception of some of the violence, was like it seemed like it was all pretty much like real.
Yeah. Well, that's it's kind of like what he did.
It's crazy to see him go from this movie to like Hairspray.
Right.
Or
he cleaned up his act, I think, to a certain degree.
Well, I mean, those are mainstream. Those were movies that I'm sure, like, the studios were like, you have to do this or that, or I'm sure that he had to be cleaned up to a degree to have it be in that mainstream of a setting. But
have you seen?
There's like bits and pieces of this movie in those other movies. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you seen Multiple Maniacs, Laura?
No, but
it's very much in line with like this. It's from, I think, a very similar era.
Oh, different filmmaker?
No, it's John Waters.
Oh, no, I haven't. What was the other movie? Desperate Living. I think I watched a little bit of that. But no, I haven't really seen most of his other movies from this era. Just like all the later
There's
ones.
A lot of them, too.
Not all of them. I mean, I saw Crybaby, I saw Hairspray, I saw... What else did he do?
He has a lot of movies from this era. Oh, Multiple Maniacs was just before Pink Flamingos in 1970. But yeah, Female Trouble, Desperate Living.
Oh, Cecil B. Demented. I watched some of that.
Oh, he did Serial Mom.
Oh wait, that was in 2000.
Yeah. So.
Esther. No, I didn't see that.
Right.
No, but maybe I should watch those.
Multiple Maniacs. I mean, if you like Pink Flamingos, it's more of that. Though Pink Flamingos is another level. I think.
Yeah. Josh said I don't think I've seen any movie as shocking as Pink Flamingos.
Yeah.
Oh, I have.
Personally, I don't think I have either.
I've seen some shock stuff for sure. Like hardcore.
Really?
But, I mean, this one was, like I said, all three movies I rented that night fit into a certain category. And there was one uniting thing, which I did not realize until after I watched them. But
I'm curious to hear what it
that Salo was pretty. I feel like that was a lot. I mean, it's in terms of shock, it's there, but it's like way darker than this.
Yeah.
Like this has a camp to it that makes it all feel a little bit light. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that movie's all fake.
Salo?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it definitely takes you into a place that is not comfortable. Let me tell you that. It's not. I mean, and this is also willing participants, so there's another element to it that makes it feel less heavy,
Well, mostly willing participants, which we'll get to.
Right, yeah, mostly. Yeah. Right. That's true. I don't know. We'll talk more.
Because that's... Sorry, I don't want
to
steamroll you, but I had actually talked to a friend of mine, my friend Julia, before watching this, letting her know, because I knew she'd seen it before. And I was like, I'm finally going to watch Pink Flamingos after all these years. And she mentioned I'm not really crazy about it. And one of the things that she mentioned was that there's actually some controversy about Divine's participation in the movie, because apparently Divine was quite heavily using drugs at the time that the movie was made. So a lot of the shocking things that she does in the movie, there's really kind of some murkiness around how much she could really necessarily consent to performing those acts.
But it's not like it's the first time that she was working with John Waters, and I don't know how clean John Waters or frankly anyone was.
They were childhood friends.
Right.
I was just reading.
I don't know, and I also feel like...
But I don't know.
I've never heard of Divine speaking ill of John Waters or vice versa. It seems like they were quite a loving collaboration, because they also collaborated for many films. Divine's also in, well, I mean, a lot of his films, but in Multiple Maniacs, which is like, you know, another crazy film that she's quite featured in.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, does Divine ever express like a distaste in what is portrayed in the movie, or how she's portrayed in the movie?
I'm not sure.
I've never heard that, and I just would assume that they were all like. I just think probably John Waters was fucked up too to some degree. You know, I mean, probably maybe not fucked up enough to like not turn on the camera and get that sound rolling, but like, you know, I just think that this is like clearly an act of like defiance against societal norms and even cinema itself. And obviously, like, you know, coming to the scene as a prominent queer filmmaker that John Waters now is like so revered as, especially in these early days. Like, I think this kind of leads into like how I felt about the movie, which is, I will say, my favorite expression of queer culture is when it has like a punk or rebellious edge to it. It's just like simply what I most like identify with and love the most about not only just queer cinema, but just like queer art in general. And so for me, like, John Waters has always been, and I've not even seen a lot of his films. I've only seen like a small handful, but I've never seen Pink Flamingos. It's always been on my list, so I was really excited to get to watch this. And this was like maybe, I think, now my favorite John Waters film. I think it's insane. I think it's worth considering too, like the time that this came out in the 70s, when queer people obviously are not where they are now. Like, this is, I think what John Waters was doing is like this act, much like drag is in general, or it definitely was back then, and still is to a degree, but drag in general is sort of like a defiant act of like, oh, you think we're crazy because we're gay? Well, like, look how crazy we can fucking be, you know? Like, there's this element to it of like what, why are we considered the freaks of society? Like, why not just show them, like, we'll just show them what we're made of, kind of, you know? It's like it's to flip off people who are attempting to call queer people, you know, freaks or like savages, or whatever.
It's just like embracing the insult.
Exactly, yeah, totally. And so to me, this is totally like that to maybe the furthest degree I've ever seen him go. And I just couldn't help but just be like in shock for sure at multiple scenes in this film, but also just kind of like a bit of a hell yeah in the back of my head of like, damn, he was like doing something that I don't even think we see anymore in queer art, you know? Like, pushing it so far further than like, I mean, for me, this is one of the most shocking films I think I've ever seen, as far as like the acts that occur in it. And yeah, like, I also have some moral questions about one particular moment that we'll get to, but outside of that,
which one?
Right. Outside of that, though, I think everything that happened, like, to me, it just all very felt like it's of a certain spirit that is like campy and hilarious and self-aware and silly, that the ridiculously horrible things that you're watching them do outside of one is like I think all in good fun, you know? And for me, I was like shocked and appalled, but also like, yeah, keep going. Like, like, let's, you know, I think that's the point, you know? That just felt like the point. So I kind of loved it, I must say. I was like expecting crazy, and it was honestly crazier than I thought it was going to be, and more shocking than I anticipated. And yeah, it holds up if you want to see like the peak, I think, of queer punk cinema, this is it. I mean, this is really it. I can't think of one that is more like that.
And the law applies again.
What?
You love it. I didn't love it.
That's fair enough. I mean, look, it's not... Again, obviously, as Laura said, I agreed with a lot of what you said, Laura, where it's like, obviously this isn't for everyone. Obviously it's like, you know, lewd and disgusting and like it's nasty as fuck, you know? So, like, obviously that's not going to appeal to many people.
It was stomach churning. It was the wrong movie to eat a whole bag of Cool Ranch Doritos before.
I think that it definitely appeals to my voyeuristic nature.
Cotton.
And it's... I'm Cotton in this movie. If I had to identify with one character. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hate this movie. I just, like I said, there were things in it that I did not remember. I'm surprised I don't remember so much of it. Or I didn't remember so much of it. But yeah, I think it's, you know, for the time that it came out, you got to think about it in that context. It's kind of crazy, like, that he made this movie, and now it's freaking part of the Criterion Collection.
That is so funny to me.
I mean, this...
The Library of Congress.
Like home video, basically, is what it comes off as being.
Yeah.
Well, being part of the Criterion Collection, I think it does make sense in the sense of, like, it is an important film, I think. Like, in film history. Because
I mean, it's amazing that it became that
right.
important of a movie,
right.
like, considering what the content of it is.
Totally.
I like it more in concept as an act of rebellion than I like it as a viewing experience, right. Which I know you don't agree with that, but... Like, the idea of it, everything you're saying, I'm like, sure, that's valid, but
you just don't want to watch
watching it. Well, not one bit.
And that's valid too. I mean,
yeah, I did love watching it though.
I think it's just, you know, it's for freaks.
It's for freaks. This is the freak art that I feel like we need more of.
This is for the Sniffies crowd.
Right, this is for the Sniffies crowd.
I was just the guy in the steam room who took his towel off.
Like, I'll say this too. Like, I think a film like this will never be made again. You know,
it kind of can't. Fair, I think.
Oh, I'm sure it will be made again. Something like this. I'm sure there's people out there.
Since the 70s, has there been anything?
I don't know. I would imagine probably.
Like I think there's too many laws.
I think
now.
we have to get into talking about the specifics. Because there are so many reasons that a movie like this could literally not be made again.
Like,
okay, maybe.
Unless, of course, you do it out of SAG, and I guess you could make this if it was like a pile of friends who, like, you know.
But you couldn't make something exactly like it for one very specific reason that I would like to get into.
Right.
Okay, should we
do
get
we have
into
anything
spoilers?
else to say before spoilers, or should we just get into it?
I do not.
So we are going to talk specifics about what occurs in this film, the vile, rude, disgusting things that happen in this film. So if you do not want to hear about that, now would be the time to tune out. But if you're a little freak and you do want to hear, feel free to stick around. I'm putting up the spoiler warning on the screen. And, you've had your chance. So.
I love the spoiler warning for a movie that's literally 50 years old.
Well, look, I'll say this. If
someone out there's like, no!
Well, prior to watching the movie today, it would have been Dominic doing that.
It would have been me. It would have been me.
Yeah.
Like, I do this because I personally would be tuning out of this podcast if
Everything's a spoiler to you, too. It's kind of hilarious. I'm like, oh, there's a scene where someone's wearing a blue dress, and you're like,
That's how my brothers are.
I don't even watch trailers anymore for movies I'm really excited for because it's too much of a spoiler.
They are spoilers these days, though, I have to say. Yeah. Trailers have really become spoilers that they didn't used to be. I don't think
they show the whole fucking movie.
They show the whole.
I don't like that at all.
They do that, and then they release like a million teasers and little clips.
The marketing,
like Twitter.
Yeah. It's too much.
I think that's something that's changed over the course of film history. Like, it didn't used to be as spoilery, I feel like.
Yeah, a lot of people are kind of, like, depending on, like, people not having the attention span to,
It's probably true, yeah. I mean, because our attention spans are probably much shorter than ever.
And
considering, you know, iPhones and things. And, like, you know, just the amount of short span information that's generated at us, like TikTok and, you know.
And not to get too deep into it, because I do want to talk about Pink Flamingos in a second.
Yeah.
But they now also, even in front of a trailer, they'll have like the quick version of the trailer.
Oh my god.
Where it'll be like 8 quick shots, like boom, 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 boom. Trailer starts now. And I'm like, what is that then? Like, that's the trailer for the trailer?
This is, of course, I'm sure, lead to a renaissance of long form, you know, production again. Or, you know, that I think that it will probably have a tipping point.
There's always a rebellious... Yeah, I mean, there's always the antithesis to whatever is in pop culture eventually. Like, that then becomes the prominent thing. But, I mean, yeah, it can't get here soon enough, I think. But, yeah, let's talk about Pink Flamingos in a spoiler way. Where what horrific scene do we start with?
Obviously, the chicken rape.
Yeah, the chicken rape.
So,
well, it's like the girl's getting raped and the chickens are.
Set it up for us.
It's a 4-way rape. Because there's
there 2 chickens?
There's Crackers, 2 chickens, and then the woman.
The voyeur.
What's her name again?
Cotton. The girl, the spy.
Cookie.
The spy, yeah.
Yeah, the spy. So, I'm just going to say, like, right off the bat, like, I'm not going to give, like, any story background because there's literally no point. Like, the story is complete nonsense.
I think the setup that I said was pretty much the story, yeah.
Just know that there is a scene wherein the disgusting family is being spied on by a woman named Cookie, and Cookie and the son from the disgusting family, Crackers, who is Divine's son, are having sex in a shed while Crackers' kind of girlfriend, Cotton, watches through a window, and Crackers proceeds to, like, fully sexually assault Cookie.
Oh yeah,
and it's very graphic.
A rape. It's a rape.
It's extremely graphic.
I guess it's not a rape.
I will say though that part
violent.
of it. That part of it doesn't. Yeah.
And there are
and
two.
Because
they are actors, and like I'm sure they both knew what they were doing.
Yes, but the 2 live chickens that are actually
they
getting
do not
crushed.
know. They do not know.
No,
there are living chickens getting crushed between these 2 actors,
yeah.
and I'm sorry, like I can't imagine that like the woman was like not being injured by the chickens that were like being scratched against her and pecking at her, and there was blood.
She might have been down with that though.
But yeah, exactly. I think
pretty sure that like that was real blood.
Yes, absolutely. Oh yeah, totally.
So like,
I don't know.
From the chickens and probably from her. So these chickens definitely got crushed, like actually crushed.
Yes.
In front of our eyes during this scene, which is, to me, like the most obvious reason that this movie in its exact form could never be made again.
It could illegally get made, but not legally.
Yeah, but then whoever was responsible
they'd have to be CGI chickens.
Yeah.
They just wouldn't be shot on...
Puppetry.
Do you think that parts of this movie were shot on Super 8, I think?
I think the whole thing was shot on Super 8.
Oh, really?
It seemed Super 8 to me, but...
Oh, it seemed like most of it was video, or I don't know what you call it, but there was another part. I feel like at a certain point, looked very different. Like the style looked more like Super 8.
Well, I think honestly, this was not a particularly well shot film.
I mean, I think it looks awesome. I think the style looks incredible.
I also like the style, but it's not like I think it just looks different because he didn't focus right at times, and
it looks like a student project.
No, but it just felt like there was more lines and more grain at a certain point.
And
like
that's bizarre zooms.
Yeah,
Laura, I think it was just because he's not doing the proper things to it's not even really about that, he's just filming shit as it's happening. He's probably just all right, whatever, action.
I thought maybe he did have a very specific vision in mind in terms of the style and the look of it.
I think the style and the look is intentionally without
lo-fi
paying attention to what it's basically just a series of long takes in which he sometimes zooms in on people, but it's presented almost as a play,
Oh, for sure.
And I think that's simply mainly because of money and resources. It was just him,
But I wonder if he intended to create a cult movie,
Who could say?
I think he was intending to create
just a
monstrosity
movie.
of
Yeah. I mean, it lived up to exactly what it set out to do. It just completely rejected good taste in every single way, both in terms of story, in terms of the actual production quality.
Right.
Well, it's you can almost be okay with all of it except for the rape scene. That.
Well, that's what
But also there's rape not just in the chicken scene, but there's other sexual assault stuff that happens that is definitely not of a consenting nature.
Yeah, when
that feels
what do you mean?
Well, the blue-haired guy.
Channing.
Yeah, Channing. He's always exposing himself to just.
Well, those are actors though that he's exposing.
I know, but I'm just saying the context of that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. That doesn't bother me at all because it's consenting adults who are in
within
a film and they're aware what's going to happen.
But also, wait, there's another part where...
The part where the woman has the semen injected into her vagina with a syringe.
Right.
Do you think that's real?
It looked like a real vagina.
Oh, yeah, real vagina, but I don't think they're actually injecting semen into her.
You never know.
Who could say?
No, but what else? Like there's what was it? There was one other thing that.
Well, wait. I want to continue off of what Dylan was saying about the chickens, just to make it clear too that was the scene that I'm talking about, where I do think that I think, look, if there's anything that's like wow, this was really of a different era, it's that, because definitely the chicken died, or at least was heavily injured.
Both chickens.
And I think like that's a level that I obviously hate. I don't condone that at all.
It's also ridiculous because we eat chicken, and like chickens are not exactly treated fairly as.
No, of course not. But they aren't brutally murdered in that way. Like, they're kind of more, at least, swiftly murdered.
They're not crushed between two naked bodies.
No, they're basically, like, being raped.
Yes. It was
This is different than just instantly killing them by, like, I don't know what
they don't just instantly. No, so a lot of chickens live terrible, long lives in very crowded circumstances and are forced to eat their own shit.
Okay, what are we doing here?
I don't know.
Obviously,
what are you? Yeah.
But chickens do not habitually get crushed between two naked actors. I'm sorry. This is just apples and oranges.
This basically happened one time.
We have to agree on that.
That's true.
And it's for pink flamingos.
No, it did feel a bit violatory.
I hope it only happened one time.
There's basically, it's bestiality.
They're like, actually, we forgot to press record.
You run that again, please?
Everything you did, perfect. But we just need to run
it back. They probably had a whole coop of chickens in the back, and they were like, we're going to do the chicken scene, so everybody's silent on the set, or you can have sex, whatever.
I honestly don't imagine that they did much takes of anything in this film. I think it was very,
people were literally forgetting their lines in the middle of scenes.
I loved that, though. I actually loved that.
The Eggs mom, Edie.
I fucking loved her, yeah.
She made me sick.
But, she's horrible in a hilarious way, though.
I thought she was entertaining.
I thought she was so repulsive. But everything was repulsive about this movie, and I guess it just wasn't for me.
And I also think it's very much like...
What became of her, I wonder?
The plot of the film, too...
Great question. Let's see.
The plot of the film is very much mirroring, I think, who John Waters is and his goals as well. Mm-hmm. Because in the film, Divine is trying to be the filthiest person of all, but I think the film itself is also doing that. Like, I think it doesn't take a heavy read on it to believe that, but I just think that, that's ultimately what the goal of the film is to just be the filthiest thing you ever did see. Mm-hmm. And I think it succeeds.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, it's filthy. What are you going to do?
What are we looking into right now?
I want to find out what happened to the mom, to the ex-mom.
What do you want to know?
We're just looking at what she died of lymphoma and diabetes in October of 1984. Mm-hmm. Almost 10 years later.
Yeah, she's also in Multiple Maniacs as well.
Uh-huh. She looks like she was in a lot of... John Waters movies.
A lot of this is just kind of making me sad.
Why?
I don't know. I was kind of hoping that there would be some element of look how different she really was.
Wait, what does it say? In the late 70s and early 80s, Massey capitalized on the infamy of Waters' films by touring as the lead singer of a punk band, Edie and the Eggs. Oh. That's fun. She also posed for a series of greeting cards.
I mean, I think this is like a batch of friends who were a bunch of fucking
and she owned a thrift store. That's pretty cool.
I don't know. I don't think it's really that sad.
She was in a John Mellencamp video. How
this is what they were doing. I don't know. I think they're some they're some queer punk freak rebels who were trying to say fuck Hollywood. We're gonna do the craziest fucking shit you've ever seen. And that's what they did.
Well, they did it. They did it.
I don't think it's sad though. I think it's pretty cool. What's sad about it?
I don't know. I think just something about the aesthetic of the whole thing really bummed me out. Well, I don't find it fun the way that you do. I found the whole thing to be just a huge bummer. I'm sorry to say. Mm-hmm. I didn't find it I don't know. I just didn't maybe it was because it's been built up on this big pedestal in gay culture. It's such a touchstone for drag queens, and it's very influential, and You hear so much about it.
But isn't that, like, I mean, don't you see why, though? Because, like, I think drag is an act of rebellion.
No, I do see why. But I just had expected something completely different.
Right.
It was not enjoyable.
What did you expect?
I don't know. Have
you never seen a John Waters
erased film? No, actually.
Okay, so that'll
Did you think that you were going to like it?
I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it. I was not sure.
This is very much in line with his other films. I guess if you've never seen a John Waters film and you're not familiar with his work, I don't think
actually, I haven't seen a lot of his earlier stuff, so I mean.
This is very much in line with his early stuff. Like, Multiple Maniacs is almost identical in form.
Oh, but I will say, now that we're in spoilers, the 3 movies that I rented all had scat in it. They all had poo eating.
Right, let's get to that, because I think that's the famous scene.
has a lot of it in it. It's crazy how much it happens in that movie. Nice. And then same thing with Gigi Allen, which is about the punk rock guy, Gigi Allen, who was famous for eating his own poo on stage and throwing it into the audience. And it was like a whole thing. Mm-hmm. And he would always tell people about how he was going to kill himself on stage. And like, that was his whole kind of claim to fame for a long time. And he had like a huge following because of that. But he was also just like ruthless. He just didn't give a fuck. He had like every disease you can imagine. He was just living life day to day on the run from the cops all the time. And then he always talked about how he was going to kill himself on stage. And then he like died of a heroin overdose.
Okay.
And people were all pissed because they're like, he didn't even kill himself on stage. What a pussy. People were like pissed that he died in classic rock star fashion, as they put it in the movie. But anyway, all 3 of those movies had that. I had no idea that any of them had that in it. Mm-hmm. And I had just heard of these movies. I didn't know anything about them, but so that's kind of interesting.
So to set it up for the audience who maybe hasn't even seen the film in which we're talking about, in the final scene of Pink Flamingos, pretty much removed from everything, and it has nothing to do with the plot, Divine sees a dog taking a shit, and in the same shot, this is not faked, in the same unbroken take, you see the dog take a shit, and then she scoops the shit off of the ground after it has just freshly been laid upon the
It's also
cement.
like a gross, like, runny turd. It's like a disgusting, non-solid poo.
It's a real, like, push out.
Yeah, she had to, like, clump it together.
Right. Yeah, it was
in her hand.
not
and
a
then
good
she
look.
takes the shit.
It looked like a slug.
And she puts it into her mouth. And she begins to just sort of play around with the shit in her mouth, and that's really how the movie concludes.
She like gnashes it in a very intentional way that it like gets like
creates
caked
a sort
in
of
her
grill
teeth.
on her teeth,
and then she like keeps going like to like show, kind of like when little kids would eat like Oreos and be like, "Do you like seafood?" Mm-hmm. And then like show the food.
Also, it's announced right before it happens by
John Waters. It's John.
Oh,
Waters.
that's John Waters.
Yeah, he's the narrator.
This is real.
What you're about to see is real.
I'm sure it sounded like there was another voice that was narrating at a certain point that did not sound like him.
Oh no, he's totally the narrator. That's like his voice for sure.
Maybe on that part, but I swear there were other parts where it was like a different voice.
He's the real deal throughout the whole thing. Like all that ridiculous shit that he's saying, like after they decided to go over to the people's house, those fucking losers. Like, he just has like a very particular way of speaking. It's totally John Waters.
No, I know that he was doing part of it, but I swear there were other parts that sounded like a different voice.
He's a narrator.
Weird Artifacts pointed out that it was the original shit-eating grin. Is that where that phrase comes from?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think so, but that is funny.
Because where else would it come from?
I mean,
I'm believing it, but I believe a lot of things with absolutely no sources.
Let us know if it is the truth. I feel like it's been around longer than the 70s, though, right?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it an old timey kind of thing?
Seems like it's from at least the 50s because my dad says it.
But yeah, so wait, thoughts on the shit eating scene, which is the one scene I did know about, Laura, because you spoiled that for me.
It was just as gross as
you anticipated.
I remember because I had seen that scene before.
Oh, you've seen the scene?
I've seen that scene before.
I've not seen the scene.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I've just heard it. I had just heard about it.
I've seen it because I remember hearing about it when I was a kid and being like, well, I don't really want to watch this movie, but I've got to see what everyone's talking about. With the
so what's that instinct then? You do want to see someone eat shit. But the movie as a whole was not.
It's one of those things you hear so much about something it's kind of like, I actually ironically never watched this one, but do you remember like Two Girls, One Cut?
Oh yeah.
When everyone was like, obviously, they would describe it Literally to a T, they'd be like, here's what happens. A girl shits in a cone, and then 2 girls share it like an ice cream cone. And it's disgusting. And then you'd still be like, huh, I'm going to go see for myself. And like so many people went and watched 2 Girls, 1 Cup. Again, I didn't.
Oh, you never watched 2 Girls, 1 Cup?
No, but my aunt did.
Oh my god.
It was really funny.
I mean,
my aunt,
I feel
who's
like everyone
this
did.
really, really like proper English professor.
Wow.
She had her like laptop facing her. And I was like watching it through like over her little like bifocals. So she's kind of like, okay, now she's taking a dump, and the other girl's taking a dump, and just like narrating it, completely unfazed by it.
She was just totally composed the whole time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she didn't think anything of it.
I think she just she let it roll right off her back.
Wow.
This movie would have been great for her.
Wow.
Unbothered.
So you didn't want to watch that, but you did watch that one scene because the curiosity got the better of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's also different watching one scene as opposed to an hour and a half of uncomfortable,
so it's more
disgusting behavior.
Uh-huh. So is it the amount of it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to psychoanalyze like why you were drawn to want it. Like, because honestly,
Yes.
I feel like...
It was the amount. It's the amount. Because
Okay.
it's just overwhelming to be like 10 minutes into something and to already be like, oh my god, I have more than an hour of this left.
So it was basically
But it's not like
for you.
fun. None of it is fun to you.
No.
It was not fun.
No,
Wow.
I felt really uncomfortable.
Wow.
For
Okay.
most of it.
Wait, you like horror movies though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
But again, it's like, there's a safety in something being fake. And when, I think it was like a mixture of the fact that it was so low budget.
It felt too real.
Because also a
It
lot of
is
it
real.
was real.
I mean, almost everything is real in it.
But it's also,
obviously
but like the
deaths or
story is
whatever.
not real.
And
Of course
Like
not.
no, of course not. And the people didn't actually get like shot in the head and stuff
Right.
like
But
that.
the lewd acts that we're talking about are real things
Right.
that happen that we are actually seeing a person do.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And to see something like, you know, a sexual assault scene in this movie where it's like completely low budget, like no coordination, no like
No intimacy
planning.
coordinators were
Doesn't
on set.
feel like
It
there's
feels
any
like there's no safety net, and
veneer
you're like,
of safety.
yeah, already
of
knowing
fakeness.
like, oh, that chicken's like dying on screen.
It
That
feels too
person's
real.
gonna eat real shit
It is
later.
real.
I'm like, this all just feels like too real, and it just felt really uncomfortable. And I don't know, it just wasn't like fun for me.
We do have the etymology of shitting grin by Weird Artifacts. He says the etymology of the phrase is possibly from a contraction of grinning like a possum eating shit, later detached from meaning and persisting due to its vividness.
How bizarre! I only have more questions.
Later
So
detached.
possum eating
possum
shit.
eating shit.
Interesting.
Okay.
Persisting due to its vividness?
That is a pretty vivid description.
Oh, and persisting due to
Grinning
the vividness.
Like a
Oh, okay.
possum eating shit.
Like the shit stays in its mouth. So it's like a shit eating grin as he grins.
That's actually a pretty disgusting phrase for how common it is to hear people say that.
I love that phrase, actually.
Shit eating.
I know,
grin.
I like to
it
incorporate
too.
it in. It's very vivid.
But it's one of those things you hear so often conversationally, you kind of just like forget about like the actual imagery of like a shit eating grin, a grin with shit in it.
Right.
Well, we saw it
It's pretty
tonight.
nasty.
You know, actually, what this was making me think, just to get back to the movie for a second.
Yeah.
The only modern equivalent that I can think of that gives me a similar vibe of like, I'm not like, they do a good job of framing it in the sense of like, these are people who know what they're getting into, so it's like, it's all good and for the fun of it, is Jackass. I think Jackass is like sort of this modern equivalent of like
Interesting.
people who are doing extremely lewd, ridiculous,
Love
like
Jackass,
kind of
though.
punk
I also
elements,
love
but
Jackass.
also Jackass has a
On the
huge distinct.
spectrum from queer to straight.
Well, it's very straight,
They
but
do
but it's not,
weirdly circle back to each other.
just in the sense of like
Well, no,
also
they're
the
they're
lines
definitely
they
both
draw.
punk rock.
The
Yeah.
lines they draw though,
They're
as
both-
far as like Jackass has a very strict line of like
It's
they don't
shock
fuck
and
with
stunt.
people. Right, but they don't fuck with people who aren't like consenting,
Consenting.
you know?
Yeah.
It's
Right.
usually the joke's on them and they're doing it to their own body.
Right.
You know? And that to me makes it palatable to watch, because if it was mean-spirited and they were like pranking people by like fucking them up, that would be like a totally different like mean-spirited kind of thing that I would not be into. Mm-hmm. But this to me also has that spirit of like, you know, Divine is eating the shit of her own accord. It's not like someone's forcing her to eat the shit, you know?
You know what the thing about that chicken scene that bothered me more was the way that girl was like saying stop and no, and then he keeps doing that to her.
Yeah,
and yet he's supposed to be one of the quote unquote good guys. Crackers.
Well, is anyone good in this film? I mean,
Divine is kind of good. It's like Divine frees those two girls from being like trapped in the dungeon.
Well, but she's vying to be the most horrible,
disgusting.
She also cannibalizes like a police officer.
I know, but like there's something kind of preventable about that. No. I don't know. There's something about that family is more, I feel like, sympathetic than the two colorful people or whatever we call them.
With the colorful hair.
Yeah, like I feel like they're the bad guys in this movie, and that we're supposed to not like them.
They're the bad guys in this movie,
and we are supposed to love Divine and her whole family.
Because relatively speaking, they are the ones who are keeping two girls in their basement, and
well, they're also like trying. Yeah, they're evil. Like they're doing an evil act by actually, like kidnapping and selling children.
Well, I actually think that's part of the statement, if you could call it that, of the film, which is like there is a true, real vileness in the world.
But see, that's the thing, is that line gets blurred when we see Crackers like raping someone who's saying stop.
Yeah.
Like, well, he's like basically like shoving a chicken's beak up this girl's like A-hole or B-hole, and there's blood, and that's like when I'm like, oh, he's not a good guy anymore.
Well, look, I totally agree with you on that.
You know what I mean? Like at first it seemed like they were doing things with only consenting individuals, whereas the other two were doing something with non-consenting individuals, which is what made them like bad. You know what I mean?
Right. But okay, hear me out though. Mm-hmm. I do think outside of like, let's just remove that scene for a second. Outside of that, I think in general, the film is portraying Divine and her group as like representing queer people, like actual queer people. And the other two people who are a bit more like buttoned up, they are kind of like straight culture at large, or like Republican, like this sort of like, I think they represent the like people who are evil, who are doing things that are actually harming others. Mm-hmm. Whereas like Divine and her group are, they're like wild and crazy, but like overall they're doing things that are just sort of like for their own amusement.
Well, I think that the term dirty or filthy is redefined by each group. So in Divine's group, filthy is something to be prized and proud of. It's like a subcultural sort of idea that is punk rock. But in the the colorful people kind of redefine the term filthy as being bad. Basically,
right. Like we're way crazier than them.
They're not actually filthy. They're just doing something mean, and they're calling it filthy. But like they're trying to like own the term, and yet I think that with the Divine crew, it's like they're owning the term because it's what people call them. You know what I mean? Like I think that there's a redefining of
which is what this film is
negative connotation that's been inflicted upon them, whereas like these other people are trying to steal that in a sense, you know what I mean? But actually, they're just evil.
Right. Which is what I think a queer act of rebellion in the 70s would be in general.
Okay,
but that line gets blurred.
I think that we're being a little bit generous in our interpretation of how they all enact filth. The whole thing is just a vehicle for disgusting things to happen.
I actually don't think
I don't think that they're trying to be like, Divine is righteous filth, as opposed to these people being unrighteous filth. They're all just doing disgusting shit. Not really. I mean, Crackers is raping a woman and killing chickens. Divine is sucking her son's dick and cannibalizing
But that's not
people.
Obviously her real son.
No, but in the movie.
But I don't even think in the movie it's supposed to be her real son. It's like obviously not her son. You know what I mean?
Regardless.
Like, come on.
The point stands.
They're obviously doing some weird fetish
Everybody is
thing.
doing freaky, disgusting shit, and I think that and like ascribe greater morality to one of those groups of filthy people than the other is to just like completely.
I think that but I think there's something too. I think that the real defining thing is consent. Like that's the thing that makes something okay and not okay. I think that's true because, like, when we talk about somebody who being disgusting,
the Cookie sure didn't consent to having chickens.
No, I'm saying outside of that because I do agree.
In a weird way, Cookie was like, "I'm gonna have to get into some weird, freaky sex shit with this guy, so you better pay me well." In a weird way, there is like a very gray area of consent there, and I don't think it's necessarily okay because it feels like she's saying no in the moment, so that feels like she's saying no. So he does cross the line, and his character is a gray character for sure. But I think that in the world of what makes something okay and not okay, in general, like in or out of this movie, is consent. And, like, that's the difference between a fetish and, like, you know, any kind of weird sexual stuff that people want to engage with being okay and not being okay.
And also...
Right? It's like consent.
And don't you think, too, like...
That's the main line.
In the real world, I agree with what you're saying. I don't think it comes into play with this movie.
But, like, I think that people can do all kinds of weird, gross shit as long as they're okay with it.
Yeah, but I think that everybody in this movie is doing horrible things to other people who don't consent in all cases.
Wait, what is Divine doing to other people that's not
She kills people.
Oh, wait, that's true.
She kills and cannibalizes the inspectors that are called to the property.
You know what? That's true. Somehow it doesn't feel real. Because it's not real. That part's not real.
Well, none of it's real. It's a movie.
But the sex is real. And the shit eating is real. And that's what made it
They're
so
not actually
disgusting.
having sex.
You don't think so?
With the chickens?
Oh, wait, but Divine is definitely actually sucking someone's penis.
Yeah, his penis is really inside. Cracker's
penis is really inside Divine's mouth. So that's real.
Yeah.
But that's also the part of it that feels too close, like that's not comfortable to watch. The fact that there are real elements.
But I think also, though, Divine is kind of playing herself. Obviously, Divine in real life was not really murdering people.
Right.
But, like, who Divine is... She's a drag queen who's fucking crazy, you know, and she really was like a wild drag queen at that time. And I think like...
Is Divine still alive?
No, she passed away.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh. But like, I think there's an element of like, she does represent, if there's a side here, you know, I think she represents queer people and the people who live in like that like huge mansion who are like kind of looking at the queer people like through... Like, think of that scene when they go to her birthday party, and they're like, they drive up in their nice car, and, you know, they're having this insane lewd affair where, like, someone's showing his hole, you know.
Gaping and prolapsing.
And they're, like, gross, they're grossed out by it.
They're doing drugs and, like, whatever. But, like, they're just kind of partying at that time, and these other people are like, oh my god, that really is too filthy for me. Like, because I think their idea of filth is, like, the
being
evil
bad.
acts they commit. Versus the Divine's idea of filth is like, we just like live in filth and we're like wild and crazy kids. Much like kind of like the queer community, I think at that time, viewed as in society as like the freaks who like sodomize each other. How disgusting can you be to like two men to have sex? That's the vilest thing I've ever heard, you know? And that's like the basis in which I think John Waters is creating his whole career and like everything that he's doing, specifically in this film, is like an act of rebellion against that very idea. And I just think that like the plot itself, while very thin and obviously mostly just to like get from one disgusting thing to the next, it like there is an element of, you know, queer rebellion on the side of Divine versus like the people who are like think they're filthy but no one's actually as filthy, or in this I think filthy is sort of the stand-in for like queer, you know? Mm-hmm. It's like taking that term fag. It's like taking that term fag and owning it and saying it to like, you know, make it ours again. Like owning filth.
It's reclaiming. Reclaiming a prerogative.
Like you own
I'll say again,
I mean.
it's not that I don't understand what you're saying.
You just didn't like how the movie made you feel. You didn't like it.
No, I'm just saying if that is really the message that the movie was trying to get across, then I don't think that they would have had Divine and Crackers and all their ilk doing like undebatably, objectively bad things, like cannibalizing people and like raping that girl and killing the chickens and like threatening to kill that guy at the end and stuff like that. Like,
they cannibalize the cops, though, right? I mean, I think
that's
like
the cannibalization of the cops is though clearly just a comedic jest,
and also
that part to me feels like it's a campy symbolic gesture of
And don't cops represent, like...
We're going to just, like, squash this idea of authority and party. But the raping of the thing, that part, because there was, like, these real elements to it, clearly, like, that part is truly a gray area, in my opinion. Like, I can't get... That, for me, is what erases all of it, too. It's not... Yeah. The cannibalization of the cops, to me, is like, I could just easily look past that.
I think that fits right in with the idea of, like...
That feels very
cops are...
campy.
They represent culture at large, you know? They're the law enforcers, and they're coming in to ruin their party.
Listen, I think Weird Artifacts make a good point, which is that let's not forget that the tagline of the movie is an exercise in poor taste.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's any sense in trying to ascribe morality to either expression of poor taste. The whole thing is poor taste. We can agree to disagree. You can have your reading of it. I don't interpret it the same way.
Fair enough. Well, should we wrap it up?
Sure.
It's funny, if you put that tagline in front of, like, any bad gesture, do you just get pardoned by using that? Like, I'm just going to do an exercise in poor taste. Don't mind me. I'm just going to rape this person. It's fine because it's an exercise in poor taste. Does that just dismiss any sort of...
I think, honestly, what that, to me, speaks to is a self-awareness of, like...
Well, of course.
I mean, well, yeah, but, like...
Just because you're self-aware, does that make it...
I think it's with intent.
Redeemable?
I think Laura makes a really good point, though, because you forgive it because it's queer.
Or because it's self-aware.
If somebody who had an expression of poor taste that you didn't align yourself with proudly touted their poor taste in the same way, then I have a feeling that you would not respond to it as favorable.
Oh, I wouldn't like it, but I wouldn't necessarily say there's no intent behind it, though. I think there is intent here.
I think there's intent behind it. I don't think it's necessarily the intent that you think it is. That's not my interpretation of it, but
mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that's fine.
We find ourselves at a stalemate once again.
Anyways,
stalemate. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day.
To celebrate the holiday, I bought myself a Scottish bite. Not that it has anything to do with Ireland, but it does. I really taste the Scottish lard embedded within this cookie. I found a box of Scottish cookies and I bought them. Dominic has a market near him. They have a very large British section. If you like British food and you live in the Bay Area, go there. What's it called? Roxy's?
Roxy Market, yeah.
Roxy Market.
Yeah.
They have a British section. Oh my God, that is a rich cookie. I can't not eat another bite.
By the way, Weird Artifacts said, I agree with all your readings, by the way. So look at that.
Thank you, Weird Artifacts.
Nice. Very diplomatic. I don't know how that's possible. But thank you.
It's a good way to end it, though. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in to our discussion on Pink Flamingos. Dylan, do you have anything that you would like to plug?
I don't have anything to plug. I'm just happy to be here.
Okay.
And...
You don't regret having done this episode?
No, I don't regret it.
Sorry, I didn't let us watch.
Once in a lifetime experience to share with you guys.
Because you will never watch that again.
Once in a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime. Once in a lifetime.
Let me highlight that portion. Because after this, I will kill myself.
This is Dylan's final episode.
Don't say
so I hope
that.
everybody
Don't
liked
say
it.
That. No.
I can't. I have to drive you home.
I know you have to drive me home. Come on. Then you can say no.
But then my night is wide open.
Don't say that.
Yeah, so thanks again to people who were able to tune in live. We really appreciate that. We, again, go live every 2 Sundays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So our next episode will be on March 31st, 7 p.m., which is also Easter. So we're just going from holiday to holiday.
Oh,
here.
my God, really?
It sure is.
Oh, that's going to be hard.
Will it?
To do.
Well,
I'm just going to have to race over here from my Easter festivities.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Okay.
Well, we'll figure that out offline, but
yeah, we'll figure it out.
We will be recording live again Sundays, March 31st, 7 p.m.
Oh, I can't believe it's going to be Easter.
Yeah. It's just coming right up. We are live on Twitch and YouTube, and then we later post to podcast services, every single one that you've ever heard of, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc. So if you'd like, you can also listen to us there. We don't have a guest or movie yet for that episode, but we will post that to our Instagram shortly. So look out for that. Follow us on Instagram if you want to know more about what we're going to be reviewing next. And that's it. Dylan, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great to have you back.
Great to be back. It's been almost 4 years, right?
No, you were on like during the pandemic.
The last one was I'm Thinking of Ending Things, right?
Oh well, my God, that one we did not like.
I really liked it.
I know you did.
One was on a future episode though.
Oh, the 100th.
You were there in spirit of.
Oh. Wait, no.
My good friend.
Britney Spears.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Britney Spears had another appearance on, I think, our St. Maud episode.
Oh, yeah.
She popped in to let us know about how her documentary was coming along, I think.
Okay.
That was Britney's last appearance. I mean, not Dylan's last appearance, but Britney was there, so, you can check that out on our YouTube.
She's free now, so she's busy.
Yeah, she's pretty busy now. But, again, thanks again, Dylan, for being here.
Thank
Loved
you.
having you. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for everyone who tuned in, and we will be back in 2 weeks with a new episode of Totally Tell Me. Bye.
Oh, yeah.